Mic'd up.
All right,
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to yet another episode of the highlights from Lowlife Show. We are the Lowlifes, and you know what? You guys know the story now. We played ball together. We drank during COVID online, and we just decided to do that for a wider audience. So here we are, uh, drinking online and talking crap. And tonight's topic is an interesting one. I don't even know how we worded it. I think we worded it about 7 different ways. There's
We
no
worded
right
it
way to
too.
word
We
it.
worded
Yeah,
it.
we worded it. We worded it about seven
We
different
worded
ways. And there was no real way to get it where it made sense until you said the example. So, what we are looking for tonight are the top 5 pop culture events. They can be TV shows, movies, songs, where sports are part of it, but it's not the driving force behind the movie or the show or the song. So, our example was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That movie has nothing to do with sports, but there's a great scene where they spend time at Wrigley Field. So that's our example. Please chime in. Leave your top 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 by pressing the microphone button on the bottom of your screen there, and interact with us. We like it when people interact during the show. It makes our job so much easier, and it gives us time to get some air and have a beer. So anyway, with that, I think we're ready to go. So I am going to look to Rob Weber to start us off tonight.
Why, thank you. All
Oh,
right.
you always pick him first. Jeez.
I thought you were used to being picked last.
Marty, he always starts with the most attractive and goes down from there. Let's start with Dirty Harry. 1971's Dirty Harry, filmed in San Francisco. Those of you who remember the movie, Clint Eastwood, of course, is Dirty Harry in the original, and he is tracking the Scorpio killer, who is targeting different folks within San Francisco. And Harry, the detective, Calloway, Callahan. I'm sorry.
Callahan. Yeah.
He is chasing after the Scorpio killer, which turns out to be an actor by the name of Andy Robinson, or Andrew Robinson in later life. But Robinson's still alive, by the way, and talks about this scene where Harry is chasing him down at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco in the middle of the night. Great scene. Turns out the reason they had access to Kezar Stadium, which was the home of the 49ers for quite some time, was because the stadium was in its last year of operations. After the 1970, the last game was played there in January of 1971. So the filming for the Dirty Harry sequence was in 1970. The stadium was eventually torn down and rebuilt as a much smaller field for high school athletics. So that's why they gained access to the field and were able to set up the things they wanted to for the big chase scene through Kezar Stadium, where Harry finally catches the Scorpio killer. So that is number 5 for me, Dirty Harry.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. Marty, since you're so anxious to go.
I forgot.
You're not ready, huh?
I'm not ready. Mine's a film too. What the? One of the many times that Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon teamed up. It was out of 1966. It's The Fortune Cookie. Have everybody ever heard or seen the Fortune Cookie? Okay, nope. All right. Jack Lemmon's character is a cameraman at Cleveland Stadium during a football game between the Cleveland Browns and the Minnesota Vikings. And the beginning of the movie, he gets a little too close to the action, and the running back runs into him. His camera goes flying. He goes takes a few steps backwards and and dumps himself over the tarp rigging. Seen the tarps on the baseball. Anyway, he's laid out. And the premise of the movie is him and Walter Matthau, his sleazy ex-brother-in-law, decides to make this a money-making enterprise. So forges a few doctor's reports and put him in a wheelchair to see how much money they can get out of the stadium and the network and all that kind of stuff. Lemon goes along with it simply because the sleazy lawyer dangles his sister or his ex-wife to come in and be the caretaker. So he wants to get back with his ex-wife. So he goes along with this. Only to the extent that the running back that ran into him, whose name was Boom Boom Jackson. Okay, that's very integral to the story. Boom Boom.
Isn't that a porn star?
Oh, that's on page 2. Hold on, it's right here. Hold on, it's right. But anyway, that's how the movie goes, and the characters kind of intertwined, and it's kind of a bizarre ending. But anyway, but it's fun. It's Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. So how can you go wrong? It's called The Fortune Cookie, and that's my number 5.
All right.
Jeff, go ahead.
All right. When I was making up this list, I came up with about 15 choices. So I'm going to start with something that I think I will be, out of this group, I would be the only one to choose this movie. And it's very odd because it's only a very slight scene that has a baseball reference. And it's Captain America, the First Avenger.
Uh-huh.
To not spoil it for anybody who has not seen it, at the end of the movie, Captain America is in a plane that goes down in the frozen oceans of Antarctica somewhere. And the next scene, you see him and he wakes up in what looks like a very sterile room, hospital room, possibly. And it's there's a radio in the corner and it's playing a baseball game. And you can hear the action of the game in slight detail. And he gets up and he kind of gets his wits about him. And then all of a sudden he busts through the wall. And you see that it's a made up room of 4 fake walls in a bigger building. And somebody's trying to stop him dressed as a 1940s nurse. And he runs away, busts through everybody, runs away, runs out to the street, and it's current day. Downtown New York, Times Square, and he's looking at all the cars and the billboards. And all of a sudden, Sam Jackson shows up and says, as Nick Fury, and says, "How'd you figure it out?" He goes, "I was at that game." So that's my number 5, Captain America, the First Avenger. Robbie?
Well done. All right. So my number 5, also, it's a short scene in the movie, but it is forever memorable. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Nice.
Spicoli wrecks the Camaro that's owned by the linebacker on the football team and then stages it to look like it was wrecked by the rival football team. And that whole football scene where the guy is just mayhem on the field, the linebacker that had his car wrecked is just tearing guys apart on the field, blood everywhere.
Yes.
It's amazing. So yeah, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
And that football player was played by
Forrest Whitaker.
Very good.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Well done. Well done. All right, awesome. That's our first round. Let's
That was
move
quick.
on to round 4. Yeah. I don't know, Marty. If I don't call on Marty, I feel like he's gonna.
Yeah. We don't want anybody crying.
oh, is that what it's supposed to do? Oh, okay. I didn't get this. I didn't get the script. Nobody told me. I don't know.
So Marty, hey,
Yes.
why don't you start off round 4?
Oh, that's very kind of you to offer. Thank you so much. And Jeff is going to explain this better than I will because I'm just going to hit the highlights. But Jeff loves MASH, and who doesn't love MASH?
You took
Um,
mine.
All right, then you do it. Go
No,
ahead.
go
You do
for it.
No,
Go for
no,
it.
You
Tell it. Tell it.
It's a war for all seasons was the name of the episode, and it starts at the beginning of 1950, or was it 51?
51.
It was 51, and then it's the little snippets throughout the year. Margaret is in a knitting project. They're showing off winter coats, and somehow Klinger and Colonel Potter had an argument over who's going to win the pennant. And sure enough, Winchester gets involved, and money starts changing hands. And what do we have for the National League title that year? But the shot heard around the world. It was the final game between the Giants and the Dodgers, and they decided to pipe it in on the PA system. And sure enough, here's the Winchester, the lovable and pompous Winchester with a Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers cap on, and listening to that call of the Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. Yeah. So it's one of my favorite episodes. What did I miss, Jeff? Fill in the details.
You got it. You got it pretty much. There was a lot of betting going around. It first was like they each picked a team, and then towards the end of the season, it was the Dodgers versus the whole league.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Because the Dodgers had such a big lead. But yeah, that you nailed it.
So, what a war for all seasons. Came out in 1980, believe it or not, which shows how old we all truly am. Yeah. So on that happy note, I am going to cry now. Webby, go for it.
All right. Okay, I'm going to slightly cheat here. This movie is kind of about baseball, but not really. 1977 made-for-TV movie Murder at the World Series.
I
You guys
don't
remember
know.
this one?
No.
Who
Of course
invites
not.
who invites him to these things? Where do you
All right. I'm going to get you more excited.
All right, I need a drink before. Get a big swig before you get started. Go ahead,
Marty. This should interest you. This movie stars Linda Day George, Karen Valentine.
Oh, I remember Karen Valentine. Oh, Janet Leigh. Okay.
And the villain of the film is Bruce Boxleitner.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. He plays
a veritable who's who of A-listers.
Yeah.
You were doing fine till you got the Boxleitner, but
he's a disturbed young man who tries out for the Houston Astros and is rejected. No. And he decides to plot his revenge against the organization through a series of kidnappings where he holds people inside the stadium during the World Series.
That's a logical assumption. Let's just kidnap people.
The stars list reads like the cast of your typical episode of Love American Style, 1977. So we got I mentioned Linda Day George, Karen Valentine, Janet Leigh, Michael Parks, Hugh O'Brien, Boxleitner, Murray Hamilton. It's just a great list. Made for TV movie. So this is what everybody did in between the time they were doing TV series and movies. They got them all. Hey, let's do a really crappy movie together. So, 1977, Murder at the World Series. Rotten Tomatoes gives it an 8 out of 100.
Are you literally just going to Rotten Tomatoes and starting from the ground up?
Did it have a baseball scene in it?
I would be shocked.
Did it have a baseball scene?
The good ones yet. So
okay.
All right, Jeff.
All right, a movie about a guy who didn't want to grow up, but then he grew up and had kids, and he kept missing his kids' events like baseball games. And the kid gets a chance to play in a baseball game with another father figure. And the real father gets jealous. We were talking about the movie Hook, where Robin Williams is the adult Peter Pan, and he's living a life that he's too busy in business for his kids until his kids get kidnapped by Captain Hook.
Dr. Hook.
Dr. Hook.
Or Dr. Hook.
Dr. Hook, whatever.
They're interchangeable. We can
Yeah.
do it. We'll make it work.
And as he's discovering who he is as Peter Pan and remembering who he is as Peter Pan, he sees his son being fathered by Captain Hook and playing in a baseball game against the rest of the pirates. So and it's a pretty fun little baseball scene. So that is my number 4, Hook.
Rufio.
Run home, Jack. Run home, Jack. All right, Robbie.
All right. So my number 4, I tried, but I couldn't find an angle for the computer wore tennis shoes. But
all right, that's a drinking game now.
The next best thing, the Escape from L.A. Remember the basketball game of death?
I remember the movie, but not that scene.
Oh yeah, they had to win a basketball game to escape from the prison, and Kurt Russell hit a magnificent half-court shot at the buzzer to win the game for Snake Plissken's crew, and which was really, I mean, considering he had an eye patch, the depth perception alone would be difficult for that shot. So, it's got to be one of the great.
You were dead.
No. Didn't the Warriors lose last night? Maybe Curry can go start. Start.
The Snake Plissken one-eyed shot. That's yeah. So the basketball game of death from Escape from L.A. That's my number 4.
Nice.
Yep. So that brings us to our favorite segment. Pull out the barrel and lend me your ears. I like beer.
It makes me a jolly
Welcome to What You Drinking.
Fellow.
What You Drinking, sponsored by Almanac Brewing. We're happy to be here drinking some Almanac beers as they allow us to party and carry on. Myself, I am drinking the Almanac Porch Light Lager tonight. So this is the newest release in the lager series. It is delicious. Like a moth to a light, you will be drawn to this beer.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Took them all week to think that one up. That's
Trademark
good. That was good. Yeah.
I believe that there is a comment about what I am drinking.
Oh, fire
right
away.
at the top. Do you want to play it or do you want me to?
If you've got it ready, go ahead.
For What You Drinking, I would point out that before highlights from Lowlifes, I was the first one to introduce Jeff and Marty to Almanac Kolsch on a golf course over a year ago. JC out.
Wow, that is the proverbial mic drop.
That is very true. Very, very true. And been internally grateful ever since then.
Internally grateful.
Eternally? Internally? What's the difference?
Internally grateful. It filled me with joy inside.
I've been drinking I can't say it right. I got in trouble for last time for saying I've been drinking all day. So I got the great JC the WC Fields line. If you wonder why I'm drunk tonight, I've been drinking all day. So yeah.
All right, Robbie, what's the drink today? Oh, sorry, Webby.
I'm drinking the same thing as
Nice.
Rob.
Yeah, I was nice and shared.
The Porch Light Lager, because of course Mr. Lanterman's doing the show from my house.
No, we were
shocked.
It was the Rat Pack room at Capitol Records.
Yeah. So I wouldn't let him in the door unless he brought me a good beer, and that's the Porch Light Lager. So I'm enjoying myself.
Very nice.
Good.
So you guys are doing the Kolsch?
Yep, still drinking the Kolsch.
All right.
Yeah, I got something new tonight. I got
Oh.
the Love Hazy IPA. So
Ooh.
not and I'm not partial to a lot of IPAs, but this is very, very good. It's very refreshing. I appreciate but Almanac does everything well, so it's not surprising. So
that is my favorite IPA, by the way.
yeah,
Love it.
Understandably so. Very good. So thank you, Almanac.
Thank you, Almanac.
Cheers.
For What You're Drinking segment, I am enjoying a beautiful glass of Schramsberg Blanc de Blanc. Cheers, boys.
We got a highfalutin audience.
Yes.
Boy, she got the right channel, didn't she? Wow.
Nobody has called in yet to say that they're drinking. I guess Czech did that one time.
Yeah,
Called in to say that he's having a Michelob Light.
Yeah.
What was the line?
Don't upset him. Michelob Ultra.
Michelob
I'm
Ultra.
sorry. Michelob Ultra, the beer.
For guys who don't want to die from diabetes. Hey, Jonesy, there's a Captain America comment in there if you missed it.
I saw.
We don't have to play it.
Well, before we get too far away from it.
Jonesy, the Captain America, that scene you just talked about, was also part of Rogers, the musical, at California Adventure Disneyland. Good call.
Ooh.
And if anybody is interested in Rogers the musical, don't be. They did a scene in one of the shows where they basically took the entire story of all the movies but made it a schlocky Broadway show. But they only did one scene for this production, and it was so fan loved that they put a whole thing together and put it in California Adventure as a live show.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks, Almanac. That's the segment, What You Drinking? We're going to continue to drink Almanac. If you're out there listening, hit that microphone button and send us a message. I don't care what it is. Just send us a message, damn it. Oops.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Nobody's listening anyway.
I just had to set that up. All right.
We go to round three. I didn't notice the thing.
We'll go to round three then. And I'll start it off this time. And I'm going to claim it. I didn't think it was going to get claimed. Or I thought it'd be claimed by now, I should say. And it hasn't been used yet. I'm going to go with Fletch.
Oh, yes.
When Fletch is dreaming about playing for the Lakers, Chick Hearn is out there broadcasting. He's 6'2", 6'8" with the afro.
Yes, that's right.
Classic moment, him dunking and everything else, and Kareem giving him the old thumbs up. So, yeah, Fletch. It's a quick one, but it's such a fun scene, and it's memorable that is for damn sure.
Very nice.
Yeah, Jonesy.
All right, I'm going to go with one that I'm not sure you guys would choose either. So I'm going to go with the movie Clerks.
Oh,
there is a great scene where he's not supposed to be at work. And there's supposed to be a roller hockey game. His team is supposed to be playing a roller hockey game, but he can't get out of work. So what do? They put the game on the roof. And they play roller hockey on the roof of the convenience store.
Yep. That is a great scene.
You got to do what you got to do to get your game in, right? Only when the ball goes, off the roof, somebody has to go chase it.
Game's over. That's it.
But they don't have to worry about cars.
Yeah, no game on.
No game on. That's my number 3, Clerks.
Good pick.
Marty.
Pick.
Number 3, Married with Children episode called Just Shoo It. Everybody, okay, all right. So our hero is going to make a commercial. What was Bundy? Well, come on, what was that? I mean,
he was a shoe salesman.
Yeah, shoe salesman. So he got the chance to make this commercial for Seuss shoes. Seus. Seuss, like the god, Roman god.
Or
So
Doctor,
No, the Roman god.
No, Roman.
not Dr. Seuss.
No.
Can you let
Left
me
foot,
just
right
get
foot.
through this story?
Old shoe, new shoe.
So Al Bundy gets to go up against Ed Too Tall Jones, and of course, Too Tall just wipes him out. Steve Carlton. So the director tells Steve Carlton just to beat him. So one shot right to his head, bonk. And then the last one was Sugar Ray Leonard, and Sugar Ray Leonard had a great line. He says, "Oh," he just bounces around, does him one shot, and knocks Al Bundy out of the ring. And he says, "Always wondered what it felt like to hit a non-professional." So he goes through all this abuse to get on this commercial, and when it comes out, it's supposed to be a Super Bowl commercial for these big new line of shoes that's coming out, and all you see is segments of his feet being popped out of the shoes as he gets hit by Too Tall Jones or beaten by Steve Carlton or Sugar Ray Leonard. You never did see his face. But one of my favorite episodes, just shoe it.
Well done.
Married
Steve
with Children.
Carlton. I mean,
Steve
he didn't
Carlton.
even like talking to the media. I can't imagine him acting.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Weber, go ahead.
All right. 1999 made-for-TV movie.
Not again.
The Darwin Conspiracy. This movie actually stars my good friend Mark Grant, announcer for the San Diego Padres. In this movie, Mark Grant goes above and beyond playing an announcer for the San Diego Padres. So he's really kind of off script there. But so here's the plot. The frozen body of a prehistoric but super advanced human leads scientists to convert DNA experiments for the development of a new race of super beings. Okay?
And you were sober when you watched this?
Yeah. Apparently, the lead scientist thought it would be a good idea to take the DNA and inject it into his simple-minded brother, who instantly became a great player for the San Diego Padres. Here's a review from IMDb. This film deserves to be part of the worst 250 films of all time. No other words describe this movie other than it absolutely stinks. The plot seemed interesting with a perfectly frozen man with incredible advanced DNA, but for some stupid reason, this vital plot point was dropped and a relationship between the scientist and his brother was brought to the forefront. The dialogue was hackneyed and trite. Another reason to know why this movie stinks is that the San Diego Padres were involved. So 1 year at Fantasy Camp, I found a copy of this movie. You can find it on YouTube if you want to download it. And I played it in the bar so that everybody could walk by and see Mark Grant doing this incredible acting. He asked me to turn it off. Apparently, he was not very proud of the film. So.
Oh, but he didn't punch you, so that's good.
So that's my number 3. Look it up, The Darwin Conspiracy on YouTube. You can find it. I think it's a free download, or maybe they give you $3 to take it down, or something. I don't know.
I think you can get the double pack with Surf Nazis Must Die.
All right, who hasn't given us their number 3 choice yet?
I think that's it.
We got it.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Onward.
Round 2. I can see by your blank faces nobody's ready.
Jeff,
All right, I'm up. Television episode. What happens when a workplace group of friends has a rival workplace group in the same industry? Inevitably, in any 70s or 80s sitcom, they have a softball game.
Ball game, right?
WKRP in Cincinnati. Les Nessman, the sports guy who knows nothing about sports, gets into a rivalry with WPIG radio station, and they challenge him to a softball game. And it is all the stereotypical things that you would think. You got the good athletes, you got the terrible athletes, you got the guy who's just drinking, literally catching a ball line drive with a beer in one hand and the glove in the other. You got the female employees running around just like every good 70s show.
Yep.
And the guy who made the bet, who has no knowledge of sports, who is screwing up all day, ends up making the big catch at the end of the game and becomes the hero. Of course.
Of
All
course.
right.
Of course. WKRP.
Now, is that the one where they had the mascots too? Remember? They had the
Yeah,
carp?
at the beginning, that's where the argument started. They were at an event and they were each wearing their mascots. One was the
W-
pig and one was a giant carp.
Yep. WKRP.
WKRP carp.
Too good.
Robbie.
All right. My number 2 is also one of my top favorite movies of all time. There is nothing to do with sports except for one brief moment where golf figures into the film. And Boone and Otter are out with their golf clubs. And Boone hits a shot that splays off to the right and smashes through into Dean Wormer's office. And then Boone hits a shot that splashes to the left and lands in the soup in the cafeteria. And Boone looks at Otter. Yep. Boone looks at Otter and says, I got to work on my game. And Otter says, don't think of it as work. Just try to relax and enjoy yourself. And he hits a shot right into Niedermeyer's horse, which gets the horse bucking up. He hits another shot into Niedermeyer's helmet. And then, of course, the horse tramples off with dragging Niedermeyer on the ground. And it's just a beautiful, everything that is great about golf comes out in that scene in National Lampoon's Animal House. That's my number 2. Webby.
All right.
Here we go.
No.
Wait a minute. I got to take another swig of this. He's going to, is this the Rotten Tomatoes choice again?
No. This is actually This is not the Crazy Train. I'm sure you've all heard of this film. The Town.
Oh, yeah.
With Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner.
Yep.
Oh.
They are a couple of townies who have been on the wrong side of the law almost all their life. They're trying to stay on a good path, but the lure of a big payday, they just can't get past that. They are being watched by the FBI. The lead agent is played by John Hamm. 2010 film talks about the heist that they want to make of Fenway Park. The receipts of that day's game, they want to steal those as they dress as security guards and try to infiltrate the stadium, which they do successfully. But there's some issues with getting away. They said the gate receipts for that day at Fenway Park, this will give you an idea how they can pay the money they do. The gate receipts for a typical midweek game are $3.5 million. So that's what they were going to get if they were successful. So pretty good film. If you can stand the heavy Saudi accents during the film, it's pretty well put together. Good action, and some good interior shots of Fenway Park. So
it's wicked awesome.
It's wicked awesome. That's my number 2 pick. Marty, did you go yet?
No, I think I'm bringing up the rear as usual. So that's okay.
Marty
All right.
is ready to go number 2.
Okay. I'll be back. See it. It's an oddball old movie, 1983. Did anybody ever heard of Max Dugan Returns?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay. Jason Robards, Marsha Mason, Donald Sutherland, Matthew Broderick was a teenager when he did this film, and his mother, played by Marsha Mason, is a teacher, and they're just squeaking by. And all of a sudden, here comes Marsha Mason's father, played by Robards, is back after being away for many years, dubious events. He's not kind of underworld, maybe shady, all this kind of stuff. But he now wants to come back into the life and realize they don't have much. And he's in the money now. You're not sure how, or so all of a sudden new cars show up and new furniture shows up, and Marsha Mason wants nothing to do with this. She's not sure about her father. He's been kind of a shady guy his entire life. Matthew Broderick there's a scene where he's playing baseball on the high school baseball team at practice, and he can't hit a lick. And he's just trying like crazy. He's not even getting close to the ball. But and then all of a sudden, some stranger shows up wants to talk to him about hitting. And I said, "Oh, who the heck are you?" He says, "I'm Charlie Lau, and I'm here to teach you about hitting. And don't worry, I've been well paid." And so here's the big scene, the big climax scene of the movie. The police are catching up with the bad guy, Jason Robards. Donald Sutherland plays the cop. They're questioning Marsha Mason about the whereabouts of her father in the stands at the big game. And all of a sudden, here comes Matthew Broderick up the bat. And the big dramatic moment, he looks down the left field line, and there's Charlie Lau just kind of creeping into the scene. And he gives them a signal that they've been working on. He looks over the other right field line. Here's Jason Robards, and they've been putting all of a sudden, the pitcher pitches the ball. He hits the ball, and then you have to watch the movie to figure out how it ends. But anyway, but it's a cute film, and I don't use the name cute. It's not but it's an enjoyable movie. You see it on some flicks or some of the other oddball things. Check it out. It's a good movie. It's Max Dugan Returns, and that's my number 2.
Well done. Marty has
Thank
finished
you.
number 2.
Yeah. I have to wash my hands. I'll see you later.
All right. Well, that brings us to the point in the show that so many of us look forward to. Rob Weber is going to take a moment to talk about the Mic'd Up app, which is how you're watching us right now, and we actually really love the app. So, Rob, take it away.
Yeah. So we haven't talked about using the app, but if you're watching our show and you want to be notified of any of the shows in the future, when a show is scheduled, go into the app and follow either of the hosts just by clicking on the heart next to our names. It will change to blue, meaning that you'll be notified every time there's a schedule change or a post. In terms of leaving us questions during the show or before the show, once a show is scheduled, you can open it up and hit the microphone at the bottom of the screen, and that will give you 30 seconds to record a comment or question for us. You can also do this during the live show. If you say something you're not supposed to, we will see a yellow flag.
Oh, okay.
If you really say something you're not supposed to, we will not even see your post. So be careful on that. But that's what we want. We want interaction from you. So
Yes,
call in and give us 30 seconds of your thoughts on these, and we'll play them on the air. Wanted to do a quick rundown of all the other shows on the platform. New shows are being added each week. There's a new show from Craig Giannino. It's called Elite Mindsets. It's about baseball and coaching, the thought process going into the game. Craig was a coach out here on the West Coast for years, and my understanding is back doing some coaching in the Cape Cod League.
Oh, wow.
So he's got his first show coming up, so take a look for that. It's called Elite Mindsets. There's another one called The Pitcher's Mind, which is run by a couple of pitching gurus, Greg Moore and Mike Nisko. Mike has a show called The Pitcher's Shop on YouTube. So the two have combined to create this new show called The Pitcher's Mind. The thing that we like about it is it covers all age groups and abilities because it's more about your thought process when you're pitching. My friend Jim Darby has a show. Jim had a show earlier today at 4:00. Former Easton executive who is great at storytelling and telling us about his experiences with Pete Rose and Tommy Lasorda and Dusty Baker and John Elway and Joe Montana as he was selling Easton and Mizuno products and signing up these pros to endorse the products. Jim also has a book out called Bears in the Bigs about Bears, Cal Bears that have gone on to play in the major leagues. And he usually shares one or two stories from that during his show. He's on bi-weekly on Wednesdays. Bip Roberts, former major leaguer and current Comcast personality, has a show. He hasn't been on for a while, but we'll get him back on the platform. Bip's Blips is the name of the show. He'll do a half hour to an hour. Usually gets a lot of feedback from his customer base. So there's a lot of interaction. He'll have an occasional guest on there like Dave Stewart. And Bip's got some great insights into the game. John Rieger is a PGA Tour pro, but the show's about his affiliation with the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. John and his co-host Barry Smith will interview folks who made their name in Florida and maybe went on to something else. He's had Fred Biletnikoff on there, Wade Boggs, several other folks. The show is great because you get to learn what people are doing today after their notoriety maybe has passed a bit. And finally, Rick Barry and his co-host Cyrus, they do a show from time to time. They will talk NBA basketball. They'll talk past and present. They'll talk college. Rick is still very much in tune with the game, and most of the questions are about what he thinks of the direction of the current Warriors, but he also talks about the good old days. And as we've told you before, Rick has an opinion. So if you want his opinion, don't be upset when he gives it to you. So that's what we got going on the platform right now. Look for us every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific. We'll have a new topic every week, and we'll have some surprises coming up in terms of we want to have some guests on, and we want to do one of our shows from Almanac Brewing. So we got that coming up. All right, Robbie.
All right. You mentioned Almanac Brewing.
Yes.
Okay. Just make sure we got a logo up there somehow. All right.
You want me to hold the can up just for a while?
Yeah. Just
okay. I got it.
Do like an Oktoberfest hoist and just hold it up. No.
Oh, that way.
See how long you can last. Yeah.
All right.
All right. The rest of us will have some fun while you're doing that. All right. So that brings us to round one. Anybody feel like starting us off?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I spoke about him before, and I'll speak about him again. Because if you want to watch a good movie, all you got to do is find out who is in it. If it's Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, you got a winner. And probably one of the best they ever did was the original Odd Couple. Everybody's seen it. If you haven't, where have you been? A great movie. Of course, it was so great they made it into a TV series. Felix and Oscar. Oscar was a sports writer, and the big part of the film is where he's at Shea Stadium, and he's talking to his fellow sports writer. This is the part in the movie where Felix has moved in, so they both are the wives have left them, and so they moved in together in the apartment in New York. So I had to back up it. So anyway, Oscar's doing his thing, sports writer, bases loaded, and even announced on the loudspeaker through the man, Bill Mazeroski is up the bat, and one of the guy next to Mathau says, this game is over. Oh, Mazeroski's up the bat. He says, come on, you never heard of a triple play? And the phone rings, and they said, Felix, it's for you. I said, later. No, it's an emergency. So he gets up, and the angle is now he turns and grabs the phone behind him, so his back is to the field. Okay, and here's this emergency phone call that's pulling him out, and sure enough, it's Felix telling him not to eat any hot dogs at the game because he's making franks and beans for dinner. In the meantime, Mazeroski has a sharp, and it was well done because it's right there in the background. Mazeroski has a sharp liner to third, bases loaded, nobody out. The third baseman spears the ball, steps on third, throws to second, throws to first, and the guy now turns around. He was talking earlier, says, Oscar, you did it! It was a triple play! It's unbelievable. And of course, his back is turned to him because his Felix was telling him what to have for dinner. And the show goes up on from there. But I thought it was a classic scene. Oscar it's backs to him. The shot has got the field with the play going on. It's priceless. It's great. So it's my number one is that scene from The Odd Couple.
Outstanding.
But thank you. Jeff, go ahead.
All right. Knowing that both Robs are classic rock fans, I hope I'm not stealing your number one. Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. Meatloaf.
Outstanding. I didn't even, that one never even crossed my mind. I can't believe it.
Wow.
For those
they're going
who
to pull your
don't
license,
know,
Robbie, for not going that one.
it is a song about a guy and a girl on a date. They're in his car. They're making out. The only lights are the dashboard lights, and they're trying to. He's trying to get farther, and right in the middle of it, they have on the radio Phil Rizzuto calling a dramatic play that kind of mimics what action is going on in the car.
Yeah, no, that's a great call.
That's my number one. Weber.
All right. I think I told you guys a little bit about this one last week. A movie from 1962 called Experiment in Terror.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Great film. Glenn
It
Ford, Lee Remick, Stephanie Powers, and Ross Martin from the old Wild Wild West series. So Ross Martin plays a killer in the San Francisco area who is trying to extort money from Lee Remick's family, and Glenn Ford is the detective that is trying to track him down before he does anything. Ross Martin kidnaps Stephanie Powers, the daughter of Lee Remick, and holds her captive at Candlestick Park during a Giants-Dodgers game. The old black and white film contains scenes from the game that was played that night with Don Drysdale on the mound throwing for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You see fans ushering through the corridors as the police try to cordon off Ross Martin. Martin escapes onto the field. A helicopter is hovering over him, the police helicopter. He fires at it, and that's when Glenn Ford takes him out down on the field.
Right
But
near the pitcher's mound, wasn't it?
it's a very suspenseful film, very well done. But didn't have anything to do with baseball until that ultimate scene at the end. So great film.
What year was that again?
1962.
Yeah, it also is a great movie just because it was shot in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And just to see a lot of the landmarks back then, because we're all, the guys are in the Bay Area, and I'm from the Bay Area, been there for years. So to see what it was like in '62 with some of those background shots that they do throughout the movie is kind of fun too.
Right.
Is that the one where the Embarcadero Freeway's under construction?
That was another film.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That was another film.
I stand down.
We'll talk later. That's all right.
All right.
That leaves me.
Who still has the number one pick?
That leaves me.
All right, go for it.
All right, this movie is a classic of the genre. I'm not sure everybody has seen it, but it has perhaps the greatest sports scene in a non-sports movie ever. This is the movie Swingers. Swingers with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau. These are guys struggling, not very good actors, trying to make it in Hollywood. And one night they all go over to a buddy's house and they're hanging out, and they bring out NHL 93 on the Sega Genesis. And if you've ever sat on a couch and played a video game against your buddy, whether it's Madden or NHL or baseball, whatever, this is exactly how it goes. And they capture it perfectly in this scene of the movie. They argue over who gets which team. So there's a whole argument over that. They finally settle the argument. They're just trash talk the entire game, which is hilarious in and of itself. But it's exactly what you did. You just keep bickering and barking at each other the whole time. One of the guys tries to annoy the other guy by doing a play-by-play the whole time. Like Messier passes over to Gretzky. Gretzky's which exactly, I was that guy. The guy, when he scores a goal, you taunt your opponent by doing the instant replay, which we all did. Like, you back this. Hey, watch it again. Hey, watch it again. Hey, watch it again. So, then they talked about how the NHL 92 used to have fighting. Like all of a sudden in the middle of the game, the hockey guys would go at it, and you could try to shirt the other guy and do the whole hockey thing. So NHL 93 got rid of the fighting. So they were complaining and griping about that, which I specifically remember doing with my buddy Darren, complaining about the fighting being gone. Then, the guy's got to get up, go to the bathroom or whatever, so you unpause the game while he's out of the room and advance your guy and get the puck on your end of the ice. Absolutely did that. But the highlight of the whole scene is when there's no fighting anymore, but now there's blood on the ice when a guy gets on a good hit or a good check. And Vince Vaughn is just taunting his buddy Mikey. He's like, I'm going to make Gretzky bleed. I'm going to make Gretzky bleed. I'm going to take Jeremy Roenick and crack him upside the head. I'm going to make him bleed. I'm going to make him bleed. And he catches Gretzky, of course, and he falls on the ice and blood spews out. And Mikey throws the controller because that's what one guy always did. When you started losing, you threw the controller, and he's like, Mikey, look, he's bleeding. Hey, he's bleeding. He's on the ice. Look, he's bleeding. And it's everything you've ever experienced playing hockey or some sports game sitting next to your buddy on the couch. It's brilliant. Love it. Swingers. I highly recommend. If you don't even watch the movie, at least watch that scene. So there we go. That brings us home. But we have plenty of check-ins tonight. Jeff, you want to play through them or?
Terrific.
Go for it.
Gee, thanks.
Unless you need me to.
We'll see if I don't knock over anything.
That'd be a first.
Yeah, it'd be a third, actually.
Hey guys, Big Deucey here, back after a week of baseball in Arizona. I got one for you today. It's actually a twofer. It's the movie Forrest Gump. And Forrest, the ping pong champion, and Forrest, the kickoff return specialist, going the distance. And that scene reminds me of the play in 1982, Cal Stanford, the Cal return guy going the distance with the band on the field for Stanford, and Cal taking out the trombone player.
Well,
And then he's got a follow-up.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, I've got one more. How could I have forgotten The Naked Gun, the first movie on that series in 1988, starring Leslie Nielsen. You've got Angel Stadium. You've got a ball game between the Mariners and the Angels. Queen Elizabeth in attendance, an assassin trying to take her out, and Leslie Nielsen tasked with stopping that. You got O.J. Simpson, Reggie Jackson, and my favorite band, the USC Marching Band.
What a cheap plug.
Great taste in movies, terrible taste in music.
Good point. Good point.
All right. JC checks in. His number 5 was on my list, and I pulled it off, and I regret it.
Number 5, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where Nicholson led the Asylum Revolt to watch the World Series. Number 4, Captain America First Avenger, a 1941 radio broadcast of Phillies Dodgers told him where he was and what date it was. Number 3, Naked Gun, Mariners at Angels with Reggie Jackson as the assassin. Number 2, Dazed and Confused, a long-haired Little League pitcher morphs into Tim Lincecum in uniform. Number 1, a la Big Juicy, coming right up.
All right, so that leads us to his number 1.
JC with number 1, Dirty Harry, the Enforcer. The mayor leaves early from a Red Giants game at Candlestick with its cruddy artificial turf, only to get kidnapped at the 3rd Street Bridge in China Basin near the present-day Oracle Park. That's my number 1.
JC nailed it. That's good.
Nice, JC. Thanks.
I had Cuckoo's Nest on my list as well.
Hey, our buddy Tiger, who was on assignment, checks in.
Here's my top 5 from Tiger. Number 5, George Brenner era of Seinfeld. Number 4, the game Djarik in Star Wars. Number 3, the hoverboard in Back to the Future Part 2. Number 2, Quidditch debuts, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And number 1, Super Bowl 38 halftime show, wardrobe malfunction.
Tiger, I would like you to explain what you were trying to say about Star Wars, because I have no idea what you were trying to say about Star Wars.
I think it was Star Wars, or was it that weird chess game in Star Trek?
If it's Star Trek, I don't know it.
Okay. That's funny. Oh my God.
Nerds.
And then the halftime show?
Yeah.
Wardrobe malfunction in the halftime show really isn't a sports thing. Oh gosh. All right. Someone named Vonnie checks in.
This one was a tough one, but number 5, I have Cheers, manager coach, when he coaches the Little League team. My number 4 is Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone movie where they do the Quidditch game. Number 3 is Parks and Rec, Bowling for Votes. Number 2 is Freaks and Geeks, We've Got Spirit. Yes, cheerleading is a sport. And my number 1 will come up next.
Oh,
she must have been watching the dial.
Suspense.
And for my number 1, it is the movie about last night with Rob Lowe and Jim Belushi with the co-ed Super Bowl softball game. Hope these all work out.
They played that smash ball game they played in Chicago with the bigger, softer, mushy ball.
Oh, okay.
Yes, okay. Yeah. Oh.
Maybe Jim Belushi's highlight moment.
Yes.
So we got a couple of honorable mentions that were left.
Sure.
Oh yeah, I got some
Me
good
too.
ones.
I got some too.
Sure.
Stuff I thought for sure was going to show up and hasn't yet.
This is Tiger again. My honorable mention is Joe Buck. He seems to think the football game is all about him. Have a good show, guys. Bye-bye.
I don't know that's for tonight's show or 2 episodes ago, but either way works.
Maybe maybe the email's a little slow over there. I don't know.
All right, so that starts us off. We're honorable mentions. I had Teen Wolf, the basketball
me
scene.
too.
Oh, sure.
The
Yeah, the basketball
scene,
scene.
Me too.
Yeah, right.
and
right.
then
right.
yeah, one I'm not too happy about. It's the first thing I could think of when we started talking about the topic. Sleepless in Seattle. When they're sitting around, the Tom Hanks and his brother-in-law and his sister are sitting around talking about the girl, and she's asking for details, and they're typical guys going, I don't know, well, I don't know. She keeps asking questions, and they're both, I don't know, because I don't understand why guys are like this. It's like things that matter you can't answer, but if you name the third baseman for the 1961 Pirates, and they both go Don Hoke.
So I have a movie in that same vein. City
Oh
Slickers.
yeah,
right.
Where they can't deal with real world stuff, so they just deal with baseball facts.
Yeah.
Nice catch. It was like that Mays catch.
So, Jeff, we just got a text from
I
Tiger.
saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jarek is the holographic chess game they play on the Millennium Falcon.
I just didn't hear the word clearly, so I wasn't sure what he was talking about. But yes, he is right.
It happens a lot with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I got a couple good honorable mentions. I can't believe we didn't think of this one. The original Men in Black movie.
Oh.
Men in Black movie from 1997. The very end.
Oh,
of the
sure.
When the spaceship is taking off and goes over Shea Stadium, and
right.
Bernard Gilkey's going for that fly ball, sees the spaceship, and the ball hits him in the head. It was his finest acting moment. And then the other one is I mentioned this to Robbie earlier. The band Sparks had a song called "All You Ever Think About Is Sex." Yep. And one of the verses to the song says, okay, so it's all you ever think about is sex. All you ever think about exclusively, all you ever think about is sex. That's all right with me. Say, do you remember the Dodgers and the Mets? 50,000 people saw us and turned red. So I guess they might have made out during the game.
I guess so. Something happened. Yeah.
So I wanted to revisit
Look it
City
up.
Slickers for a second.
Yes.
Billy Crystal, I mean, God bless him. He's been a Yankees fan since he was like 2 years old. I mean, he waxes poetic about the first time he walked through the gates and then saw the green field and everything. So yeah, he wears a Mets cap in the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's never been an explanation. So I believe that he had to have lost a bet. There's no other reason why he would have to be on screen wearing a Mets cap than that. So anyway, just a thought. Anybody else?
I had one. Brockmeyer.
Oh
yeah. And in an obscure time. What was the name of the baseball team?
It's been too long since I've been.
Yeah, they were somewhere in Pennsylvania. The Drillers, right?
Yeah, but is that
I think
it?
they were the Drillers.
Because it was the Frackers. Was it the Frackers?
The Frackers. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
So
I got a handful of them. Batman and Robin. They're playing ice hockey against Mr. Freeze's goons.
So okay, Strange Brew.
Strange Brew.
Yeah.
Should have had that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here's an old one from the 70s. The movie The Warriors.
The baseball.
It was about a whole bunch of rival gangs, and one of the gangs was all dressed in baseball uniforms.
The baseball baddies.
Yes.
Well, is
And-
that your Halloween costume this year? I mean,
Warriors.
Come out and
Play
play.
it.
Cans are more environmentally responsible.
And
than
then
yeah.
the movie Grease, where he
Oh,
has
yeah.
to go do PE events, including play baseball.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, great. Yeah.
And then I had like 8 different Simpsons episodes I could
you
have pulled
did.
out.
All right.
Well,
Anything else from the commentary?
Anything?
I think that about wraps it up then.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks everybody for
Right.
joining us. You can find us here on the Mic'd Up app every Wednesday at 6 o'clock if you want to join us live. All our previous shows are archived on the app, so don't be afraid to dig into that previously section and scroll through and find our shows. We're also available on YouTube. We're getting caught up on some episodes there, so you'll have the full selection here soon. We have our website, Instagram, social media, all that kind of crap. So follow us, like us, subscribe, flip us off, whatever. We don't care. Just interact. That's all we're asking for. Please interact. So, and anyway, we appreciate you hanging out with us for a little bit, and we will be back next week for more weird talks.
Good night, folks. Thank you.
Thanks,
Night,
Almanac.
everyone.
Night.
Thank you.